Hello, welcome to the conversation on New Central Television. This is where we bring you up to speed with all the political happenings on the African continent. I am Benga Aborowa.
And I'm Rita Omodia. Today on the conversation, we will bring you politics update from Tanzania and Zimbabwe. Now, Tanzania's President Suluhu Hassan surprisingly attended an event by the opposition in a move to uniting and strengthening Tanzania's democracy.
Now, while in Zimbabwe, activists are citing irregularities ahead of the elections in August. Interesting developments in Tanzania there. I like, politicians are so well behaved these days. In Tanzania, they are attending opposition rallies. In Nigeria, politicians are licking ice cream, visiting tragic scenes, promising people
different
this
things.
and that.
Politics is actually a very funny game, but I think for Samia,
you call it a game.
It is a game, actually. It's a game, so it just depends on who wins, actually. So for Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, there were a lot of expectations for her, and I think so far she came up with 4 R's: reconciliation, reuniting the country, especially the political atmosphere. So for me, it's a thumbs up.
It's a thumbs up, judging from where they're coming from in the days of John Pombe Magufuli and all of that. So they've come a long way. Exiled opposition leaders are back home, and that's how it should be. Politics shouldn't be about war and division.
But I wonder what happens when there's a fruitful relationship between the opposition and the ruling party. So what does the opposition have against the ruling party?
They will still, trust me, when elections come, they will pick out things they want to use to tackle the ruling party. But we begin in Tanzania, where in a move depicting Tanzania's reconciled political atmosphere, President Samia Suluhu Hassan, for the first time in Tanzania's history, attended an International Women's Day event organized by the main opposition, Chadema, and welcomed by its chairman, Freeman Mbowe, since the death of a predecessor, John Pombe Magufuli, who was accused of cracking down opposition. President Samia Suluhu Hassan has demonstrated efforts to amend frayed ties with the opposition in the country.
Now, addressing thousands as well as other opposition parties who were present at the event, Samia said that this was another step towards reconciliation in Tanzanian politics and that more efforts had been made towards creating a new constitution. She also made reference to Tanzania's growing economy as the best performing economy in East Africa, which has made it an envy among other neighboring countries. Samia Suluhu Hassan became Tanzania's first female president, having taken office following the death of John Magufuli in 2021. Her attendance at the opposition event has sparked applause from not only members of the opposition, but the international community as well. And now joining us for this conversation, we have Prosper Kwigize, a journalist from Kigoma region, Western Tanzania, and Emmanuel Fala-Tukashu, advocate of the High Court of Tanzania and subordinate court thereto, partner at the Vina Attorneys Law Firm, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Gentlemen, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much for having me in this conversation.
Wonderful. So I'm going to begin with you, Prosper, because for the first time, the presidency and opposition shared the same platform at an event organized by the chairman of the main opposition party, Chadema, Freeman Mbowe, marking this year's International Women's Day celebration. So tell us more of the reactions to this occasion, and was this expected or a surprise?
Actually, I can say this is a new chapter of politics business in Africa. What Samia has shown to the African politicians is an example and lesson to other politicians within the country, but also to other politicians in Africa, especially Great Lake region, where we have experienced that when it comes on political competition, people tend to see others who are not supporting them as the enemy. So what Samia have shown already is a lesson to all politicians in Africa that being in opposition parts doesn't mean that you are enemy. So they can work together. And as Samia said already, is that she wants to see the criticism that brought by the politicians from the opposition party as challenge. And challenge is not problem. challenge can be solved. So she wants to see that all politicians have access and the ability to share their views, to criticize the government, and then the government to work on those criticisms and bring about development in the country. So I can say that what Samia have shown you, it is very new to Tanzania politics, but also it's new African politics. So from my expectations, I see that all African leaders in political parties, they have to learn on how to work, collaborate, and use the opposition views to make changes in their society. So the really example have been already shown by Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan, with the hope that other politicians in Tanzania and African countries, especially East Africa, they can learn from this as an example and also change the perspective on how to collaborate and work with opposition political leaders. That's what I can say in the beginning.
Thank you, Prosper. Quite positive steps taken and developments in Tanzania. Now, looking at the recent past during the era of John Pombe Magufuli, who was nicknamed the bulldozer because of his mode of operation, Tanzania witnessed a massive departure of opposition in exile. Tundu Lissu famously said that President Magufuli did order his assassination attempt. And we've heard reports of Tundu Lissu himself is back from exile. God bless Lema. What should we be expecting more members of the opposition back in the country? And what does this say about the democratic atmosphere in the country?
What I can contribute to this point is that, you know, it was like a culture or a moral of politicians not believe in anybody. So, being so, you can find that any president or any political party leading the country, they have their own vision and mission, but all of them in Tanzania, we can say each part they have mandate to make sure that they win to rule the government. So by looking to that different examples from the previous president and Samia Suluhu Hassan, then you find that everyone has its own perspective toward competition within the party and outside the party. So when you compare Samia and Magufuli, you can find that Magufuli was using any means to make sure that the CCM, the ruling party CCM, remain in power at least 100% in power, having all a member of parliament, having all councillors. That he was using that method to make sure that the ruling party is still in power and more powerful than ever. But when you see the consequence that that comes after the method Magufuli used, then you see that the country was somehow running in dilemma because the love and the unity between the politicians was not existed anymore. Anybody who thought that he or she is not your supporters, people tend to see that the people who are not supporting you in your party is your enemy.
Okay, now, Prosper, talking about this stance for unity, Prosper, while we're looking at this stance for unity, if you can hear me, I mean, how does it affect the position of the opposition? And are there some who are also against this unity that Samia Suluhu Hassan is trying to bring? Is there also a possibility that the opposition might be joining forces with the ruling party?
Yeah, because it seems everything is so smooth and nice. It's kumbaya. Would there be anything to contest against?
Yes and no. It has both sides of a coin. It can be yes, it can be no. Other people have been seeing that that is tricky. It's tricky mechanism of Samia to control all opposition parties, to make sure that they rule their own agenda and focus on the Samia or Chama cha Mapinduzi agenda. So if they are not going to look carefully on what is Samia is doing now, they may end up of completely failing to address their issues or fail to criticize the ruling party and end up saying that we are supporting Madam Samia, we are supporting the way she is working. So then next year is the election, local government election next year, and then 2025 general election. So the movement Samia is doing now to engage the political parties, opposition political parties, can be very nice for them, but can be very dangerous for them also. So they have to think and rethink and see how they can work together with the CCM without losing their focus.
Okay, staying with you, looking at, you did talk about criticizing President Samia Suluhu's Hassan's government, but when it comes to human rights and freedom of expression and the democratic space, a lot of people would give her kudos. They will say, you know, she's done reasonably well for exiled leaders to feel comfortable enough to return to the country. But what about other areas like the economy, standard of living of Tanzanians? How would you rate her administration since she took over from the late John Pombe Magufuli? How has she fared?
I didn't get you very well, but what I can say is that the movement that the Tanzania government is taking now, the path that the government is taking, can make the country become united.
No, sorry, just to make myself clear, Prosper, I was talking about other areas. How has she performed economically and beyond the politics? How's the standard of living of ordinary Tanzanians, and how has she managed the economy since she took over from John Magufuli? Hello, Prosper, are you there? Okay,
I mean, these are very big questions. Okay, Prosper.
Go ahead, please. Hello,
Can
Prosper.
you come again, please? I was just...
Yes, I said, how would you rate the performance of Madam Samia Suluhu Hassan since she took over from John Magufuli with regards to the economy and the standard of living of ordinary Tanzanians?
Regarding the economy, I can say there is no difference from previous government and the current government, because most of the projects that have been established by Magufuli is the same now, is growing, and as Madam Samia motto is, let us job continue, which means the all effort that have been taken by the previous government is now on work and on progress, and everything is now taken into consideration. But which I can say is a big difference is the way of doing politics. We can find a very high and a huge difference from Magufuli and Madam Samia. But also another point of the difference that I can say, how I can address, is that the way Magufuli was leading the country was based on the local community directly, saying that he's there for the local community, he's there for poor people, for farmers, for pastoralists. But currently, you can't differentiate what exactly is the target of Madam Samia. But the big issue is Samia is working hard to make sure that the education standards, health facilities, and also business platform are equal to everybody than the previous government, where some people tend to say that they have lost their capitals because the government was hunting them, asking where they get money, how do they use their rich. So that is a big difference between Magufuli and Samia.
Okay, so looking at Samia Suluhu's administration, I mean, we're seeing lots of comments from chairman of the Chadema party, Freeman Mbowe. How would you categorize the relationship? I mean, he has said so many pleasant things about Samia Suluhu, Hassan. What exactly would you say is your present relationship?
It is really controversial. You can't say in reality what is their agenda. But according to their speech, you can see that they want to see the different Tanzania, where all politicians from the ruling party and opposition can work together. But maybe there are something behind that also have been raised the fear to other political party leaders. If you have already heard from the ACT Wazalendo, but also CUF, and the other political parties in Tanzania mainland and also in Zanzibar, they have fear and they have been asking, is it really a reconciliation between Chadema and the CCM, or reconciliation between all political parties, oppositions, and the ruling party? That's the question remaining front of the people, politicians, activists, but also within the Chama cha Mapinduzi ruling party. There are some politicians still asking, is this really a right way of doing politics, of doing competition between these stronger opposition party? Let us time now tell. We'll see what will happen maybe next year in local election and 2025 in general election.
Yeah, I guess this is the honeymoon period, and we can only wait and see how things pan out as we move closer to election period, local elections, and of course 2025. Like you said, now just moving away from Tanzania and looking at the bigger picture in the East African community, it's quite a volatile time in that region. You have skirmishes in Somalia, and there's also an active low-intensity war going on in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. How has President Samia Suluhu Hassan fared diplomatically, and how is she perceived in the East Africa region and community? What contributions has Tanzania made towards lasting peace in those troubled areas?
Historically, Tanzania is base of peace for all Great Lake region countries. All leaders in Tanzania, they have been making so many efforts to make sure that the DRC, even in Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, and now South Sudan, to make sure that they are living in peace. So Tanzania, we have that culture of being touched by the living and environment, peace environment in surrounding countries. As you may understand or you may know, Tanzania have already contributed to the United Nations Army in DRC for a long time. And the data shows that it's the Tanzania Army who managed in different time to control the peace in Eastern Congo. But also, Tanzania have been supporting Burundi in negotiation to make sure that the political party in those countries, Burundi, even Rwanda, are now on table and discuss on how they can rule their country without entering into chaos or conflict or war. So even Samia, she was already traveled to Burundi specifically for peace manner, but also she traveled to Kinshasa to discuss with Tshisekedi about how they can tackle the Eastern DRC conflict. And Tanzania have also promised to make sure that DRC, Rwanda, and Burundi, they became a peaceful country. And you may remember that one of the methods which was pushed by Tanzania previous president, but now Samia, is to invite and register DRC as member of East Africa.
Okay.
That is one of the methods and the technique to make sure that they are living in peace compared to the current situation.
All right. Thank you so much, Prosper. I'd like to bring in Emmanuel Fale Tukashu, advocate of the High Court of Tanzania and subordinate court thereto partner at the Vina Attorneys Law Firm in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation. I've been looking at the political gatherings in Tanzania and, of course, the fact that Suluhu Hassan attended an opposition event. Now, one of the major demands of the opposition was reviewing the constitution. So far, what exactly has been done? I mean, aside political gatherings, what changes are required in the constitution?
Okay, thank you so much, Rita. First and foremost is that what happened on 8th March, it's an historical thing in our country because one of the very opponent party, opposition party, and one of the leader of the opposition managed to invite the sitting president to the event, which it is in the party indoors of the women. That thing, it was not expected by any sitting president since we have put now 6 presidents in our country. In one way or another, it has been taken in a very positive way because Her Excellency Dr. Suluhu Hassan, since when she got in power, that was 19th March 2021, she said that she needs to make a reconciliation of this country. So she has delivered her word. It's for the first time whereby you can see a ruling party and the opposition that can shake hands after 6 years of a very, very traumatic political situation in our country ever happened. So even in the motto that when our Excellency President appeared in the opposition event, it was that never again happened. So that means we now need to forgive, we need now to move forward. So in that, it has taken a very good image, it has taken a very positive line that our Excellency President need to reform this country, he need to make a reconciliation, especially the political reconciliation. So to my perception is that our Excellency President has made a very shock. Some of the people thought it was a propaganda. Some of the people, they would not even believe that our president could go. All the advisors advised her to go, but yet she went there and she said, and she made a very historical speech. And after all, she said that she wants to hear the opposition and she need to get a challenge from the opposition. And she said that the opposition is also part of the country and they deserve equal rights.
Okay, staying with you, Emmanuel, the resumption of rallies is seen as a part of President Hassan's attempt to break away from the Magufuli leadership style, which was widely described as authoritarian. Compared to the late President Magufuli, what are some of the other reformist agenda and the breakaway from the old regime that we've witnessed under President Suluhu's administration?
Okay, first of all, Our Excellency President Suluhu Hassan has moved away from Magufuli. In the time of Magufuli, 6 years way back, it was no political rally in the country. It was only one-man show. That was the country that was moving ahead. Now, coming to Our Excellency President Suluhu Hassan, she has tried after in 1 year and a half, we'll say now she will get 2 years of a regime next week or 2 weeks ahead in 19th March. She said on 3rd of January that she's opening and removing the ban of the political rallies. So that, first of all, it has been hope in our country, if I say so. And the agenda of the political parties now has enshrined to narrow to go for the agendas of economy instead of looking of a civic space, instead of making an abuse to the president. Everyone in the political rally now, she's just he or she's saying that I will support the president, we support the president, support the president, because it was not easy. Even the president said that even when she attended the opposition event, it was not easy for her party. When even also she has unveiled the banning of the political party, it was not easy for our country, for our party. So in one or another way, I see she's trying to unite him and try to reduce the agenda of the opposition in order for that when she comes in 2025 election, the opposition will be now corrupt in agenda, they will be bankrupt of agenda of what they can challenge against our regime. I think so that's the way that Excellency she's moving.
Okay. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Prosper, over to you. I'm hoping that you shed more light on the issue of this constitution review or constitution amendment that Tanzania's President Suluhu Hassan has promised the opposition. What exactly are the changes that we are to expect?
Can you kindly unmute your device, Prosper?
Can you hear me, Prosper? Kindly unmute your device, please. All right, while we still try to get Prosper.
What I can say is that if the CCM and President Samia Suluhu Hassan they talk what they talk what they want to do, I think they will have to maybe convene the General Assembly for CCM to agree together that they should now enter in the process of either activating the previous process, which was read by Honorable the chairperson of the Constitution review process, or they establish the new strategy of making sure that the Tanzania has have to write a new constitution. Either they can stick on the previous previous constitution that was already written by the member of parliament, waiting for the community, for the voters, for the citizens to vote on it or to deny on that. So I think Samia and the Chama cha Mapinduzi have that mandate to make sure that now the process continue or restart afresh on the according to the opinions of the activists, but also opinions from political leaders, because we have now 2 to 3 groups. Others saying that let us now continue to where we stopped. The others saying that no, the parliament that passed the constitution, which have been waiting for the voters to vote for it or not. Other politicians, other members of the parliament were not involved in the parliament that declared the constitution. So they feel like it's better to start afresh. But the other saying that
okay, Prosper, can you hear us? Are you still with us? All right, well, from all what he has said, I mean, there are still the talks and negotiations on the so-called constitution amendment going on in Tanzania, which the opposition has so far called for. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for joining us on the conversation, as also Prosper Kigize, a journalist from Kigoma region, Western Tanzania, for joining us on this conversation.